The day that we've been waiting on is almost here. Starfield releases this week for those who are able to get early access, and next week for those who aren't. Now, from the creators of Elder Scrolls and Fallout, we finally have a chance to explore the galaxy around us. So with that, let's jump into everything you need to know before you start playing. Starting with, when does the game finally come out? And that is August 31st if you're on the Western Hemisphere, and everywhere else September 1st. Now, the game has a global release, meaning that everywhere in the world all at once it will be available. Now, this does cause for some weird launch times for those in different places due to time zones. Now, if you're in the Western Hemisphere, it is pretty standard. You know, if you're Eastern time, it's going to be around 7 or 8 p.m. And if you're on the coast, it's going to be around 5 p.m. in Los Angeles. Now, in other parts of the world, it can get kind of weird, as in Germany, it is a 2 a.m. launch, meaning right in the middle of the night, and in London, 1 a.m. Now, with this, I do think this is best, though. That means everywhere in the world it is available all at once, and I do think that is the best way to do this. Now, you can see up on the map ahead where you are at and what time zone it will be releasing. Again, if you're on the Western Hemisphere, it will be Thursday, August 31st. Now, all of that is for the early access. What about if you didn't pre-order? Well, if you did not pre-order, you can expect to see the game and play it on September 5th or 6th, depending on where you are in the world. Now, let's take a look at how you can get access to the early access launch. Now, if you have access to the early access period of the game, is going to depend on what edition of the game you buy. With the standard edition, you do not get the 5 days of early access. That is only available once you purchase the premium edition. Now, the upgrade to the premium edition, the Constellation edition, also does have this 5-day early access, so just keep that in mind. Now, with the premium edition, not only do you get 5 days early access, you get premium content. Shattered Space, the first story expansion, which will be coming out in the future, you will get for free without having to purchase anything. Now, you'll also get a cosmetic skin pack and access to the digital extras, the soundtrack, and the art book. Now, again, all of this is included in the Constellation edition, and you get a little bit more. So let's talk about that. In the Constellation edition, you'll get everything in the premium edition, plus the Steelbook display case and Constellation patch. Now, this is an embroidered patch that can be sewn onto a jacket or just displayed however you'd like. It also comes with, this is the big thing, the Starfield Chronomark watch and case. Yes, you actually get the watch that your character wears in the game in real life, and it even comes with a display case. Now, this is a fully functioning watch and can be worn and used, and it even has a companion app that will connect through your smartphone so that you can customize this watch any way you like. Now, there isn't any remarks or any clear thing about whether it will connect to the game at all and do anything in game. I don't believe that it will, but it is pretty cool that you can customize it to your phone and basically make it display whatever you want. Now, again, this Constellation edition does not come cheap. It is around $300 US. So keep that in mind when ordering. It is not a cheap thing to get this watch, but with the premium edition being at $100, it is a fairly normal price for a AAA game. Now, this game, as you may have seen, is an Xbox exclusive, meaning those people on PlayStation will not be able to play this game. However, you can play this game on PC. Now, starting with consoles, they plan to have this game able to play 4K on the newest generation of Xbox console, and on the previous version, they are going to be expecting to push 1440p. Now, both consoles will be capped at 30 frames per second to ensure a smooth gameplay experience for all of you going through your journeys. Now, moving on to PC specifications, where the varied system can vary dramatically. Starting with the minimum recommendations, we have the AMD Ryzen 5 2600X and the Intel Core i7 6800K. Now, these are not brand new processors, but they are not old at all. They are about middle of the line processors that you can expect to see in the average gaming station. Now, with this being the minimum, that means this game is going to be fairly challenging to run. So you definitely want to make sure that your PC will be able to support this game before you spend your hard-earned money on it. Now, for our memory, we have 16 gigabytes of RAM in both the minimum and the recommended, which is fairly standard in a PC of today. Now, moving on to the graphics card is where things get interesting, where they are recommending the AMD Radeon RX 5700 and the NVIDIA GeForce 1070 Ti. Now, as far as graphics cards go, again, these are not the most bang for your buck, most powerful cards, but they are definitely not old cards, and it is worth making sure that you will actually be able to run this game on the minimum settings. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the storage required for this game is quite a bit, 125 gigabytes for both the recommended and minimum. And one thing to note is that it is required to run on a solid state drive, an SSD. Now, as we move on to the recommended, things go up a notch with the AMD Ryzen 5 3600X and the Intel i5 10600K. Now, these processors are not something to look down on. These are powerful processors that are not in most gaming stations, so that is something to keep in mind. And as we move on to the graphics card, it gets even more extreme. They are recommending the AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT and the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080. Now, these are top of the end graphics cards. Even though they are not the newest version of either, they are still top of the end graphics cards that are not cheap. That means if you want to play this game at a decently high frame rate, you're going to have some serious firepower in your PC. So just keep that in mind. Again, when purchasing this game, make sure to check your system to make sure you can actually even run this game, because it is not going to be easy for your PC to run it, especially at high frame rates or in 4K. Now, we are not going to cover any of the intro story to this game in this video, because there's a dedicated video coming out, hopefully to be out the day before it launches, covering what you need to know about the game. Because Bethesda was super nice and released a very nice detailed timeline that you can see on their official website, which will be linked down below. Now, as far as what can you do to get ahead of the launch, well, in that news, we have some exciting stuff, meaning that the character build planner and calculator was just released. Now, again, this was just released, so it might not be perfect and it might have some bugs, but as you can see here, it is pretty cool to actually go ahead and see what you can do with these characters. The amount of customization as far as skills go and background and traits and what you're going to be able to do is absolutely mind-boggling. The combinations that you're going to be able to make are absolutely insane, and I'm super excited to dive into this. And if you want to see me dive into that, I'll be live on Twitch at Malice Fury, so check me out there where we were going to be diving into the build planner and to see what I'm going to be running on Thursday night. Now, before we end this, I do want to quickly talk about some news that is in the Starfield community. There are many versions of the game out there that are sent to reviewers that are currently reviewing the game. And now the embargo on the reviews will be lifted on the 31st, meaning that that morning we'll be able to see what this game has in the entirety of the game. Many reviewers are stated that they have put almost 200 hours into the game already. That means on the 31st, they're going to have videos and guides ready to go so we can see what this game actually entails. Now, there have been rumors of bugs and some stuff that isn't quite what it seems. Many people have been complaining that apparently many of the worlds are actually going to be zoned off and you'll have to fly to different spots. Now, reviewers obviously can't talk about this in detail as they have signed NDAs, but they have said just to wait for the 31st to come out before making your judgment on the worlds, as what we've seen in the leaks is not quite the case. Now, sadly, I was not given a version to review. I did try and get my hands on one, but ultimately was not picked, and I'm not super surprised with the size of my channel, but I did try. And I am super excited to see what holds on the 31st, and I'm super excited to get my hands on it when the game actually launches. Now, I'm going to be covering everything you need to know on Starfield here on YouTube, and I'm going to be streaming it live on Twitch. Now, what you can expect on YouTube is going to be game guides, news, and all kinds of updates to keep you updated in the realm of Starfield. Now, I am currently debating on doing a playthrough series on YouTube, and that's where I would like your feedback in the comments down below. Would you guys like to see a playthrough, basically an edited cut down version of my run on Twitch, so that you can watch it here on YouTube? Now, I could make this edited to cut out some of the more boring and slow parts, or I could leave it as just a raw gameplay footage. And I would like your input down in the comments below, whether you guys would like to see that, or if you guys want to just watch it live on Twitch. So with that, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you guys are excited as I am, and I hope to see you guys on Twitch when this game launches. So with that, I hope to see you guys in a future video. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the stars.